Hello, welcome to Subjective Insights. Well, I'm going to carry on with the theme of my previous video. So even though that model is false, in which the source of money isn't accounted for, and we assume that each group within the economy spends out of the spending on it from the other three groups, is clearly false, we can still use this to draw conclusions about certain things, like how debt will function within the economy. So imagine that you have £10 within each group, so £10 in the state, £10 in households, £10 in firms, and £10 in banks. What the banks do with their £10 is they lend it out at interest, and the other three groups, they only spend what they have and they don't demand more back in return. So we're kind of keeping those three the same, and we're just analysing what happens when you introduce debt within the system. So say for the first round, the bank has £10 and it lends all of that out, and then when it gets it all back, it will have £10, let's say it lends out at 10% interest, so it will have £10 plus 10% interest, which is £1, so £11 in its bank, in its sector, which means as long as you keep the total money stable and don't have any new supply of money in there, the other three sectors will have £1 less. And then what the bank then does with that £11 is it lends it out again at the same rate of interest, and this time it will come back with £1.10p extra. So the bank would then have £12.10p, and the rest of the sectors would have £2.10p less. And as this cycle goes on, you can see that inevitably it will result in the bank having all of the money and no money being amongst the other things. This is the system. This is called compound interest, and it demonstrates how compound interest is a damaging thing towards society. There's an economist called Michael Hudson. He was amongst a group of 6 economists who predicted the 2008 crash before it happened, along with another one of my favourite economists, Steve King. What will then happen is that if the bank has all the money and nobody else has any money, then the bank starts buying up assets. And in a sense, this is the real, Michael Hudson would claim, this is the real agenda of the banks. This is why it's leading to a form of neo-feudalism, in which one sector of society owns everything and we have to pay rent in order to use it. But in this case, we would have no money with which to pay rent. So you could imagine, say, the banks buying up all the roads and setting up toll booths on the roads, and it would give people money to man those toll booths. And then, ultimately, the system just fucks up. You can't have a free and democratic kind of, it would destroy the free market then. This is what the state's meant to do. The state's meant to regulate the banking sector, the financial sector. It's meant to regulate how the employers treat the employees in order to keep the free market system going. This is why when a lot of capitalists talk about getting rid of the state and they're very anti-state, I find that baffling, because it seems to me that the state is to support the foundation for the whole free market system, is what keeps it running. So in this case, what the state would have to do, it would have to come in and forcefully redistribute the wealth from the banks to the other sectors. And one of the ways it would do this is through taxation and so on and so forth. As I've said before, the state's also the foundation for money, but we're just sticking to this system here, and that's what. If you deregulate the financial sector, as we have done over the last 30 odd years, you will just let this process go on, in which the banks leech all of the resources, all of the money out of the other three sectors of society. And that's one of the main causes of all the social ills and things that go on here. I mean, even in a sense, Marx didn't quite get this, or I don't think he did, because he focused on the employer. But if you look at the landlords and the employers, the capitalists, so to speak, they're actually beholden to the bankers, because they borrow. I mean, that's what an employer does is he borrows from the banks in order to pay the first lot of wages of his employees, and then he hopes to continue paying their wages with the returning sales. Anyway, yeah, I think I've got that one down encapsulated. What is it? Muscly, eh? Muscly. Wah! Got the braid and the broad, braid and the broad.